Pickett is on a rookie deal. They have money to spend on that offensive line.
You're right.
I feel like the tight end's in place. The receivers are in place. You like the running back?
I thought Pickett over the last 5 or 6 weeks, he was doing back shoulder throws. It's like, all right, we got something here.
I think the biggest question is the offensive coordinator. Left a lot to be desired. A lot of first down runs into the line of scrimmage. You remember how we talk about Miami has dudes wide open all the time? I just didn't see that with the Steelers. Everything is a contested catch.
No, it's fair.
You got to work really hard on offense. So, Tomlin, work on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Next up, Baker Mayfield. Your guy, Colin. Rough start to the season in Carolina, but we could say he finished strong, right?
Yeah.
Came to the Rams. Couple nice victories, decent performances. Baker Mayfield thinks he can still be a starter in the NFL.
I know I'm good enough to be a starting quarterback. I have no doubt about that. It's, today I'm not real happy with how I played. I'm going to kick myself over and over for not putting that ball on the sideline for Van on that last play. But no, I know I'm a starting quarterback. I'm confident in that, and we'll just see what happens.
Well, I mean, let's be honest about it. If McVay is retiring, if I was Baker, I'd probably leave, right? I'd rather go. I'll take the bag if I don't get McVay. But here's the other thing to think about. If McVay retires, what's Stafford do?
Yeah, maybe you stay if you're Baker.
Well, right? Didn't Stafford go to L.A. for McVay? So if McVay bolts, I'm Stafford. I'm like, I'm not here for...
Trade me. You guys need picks. You're rebuilding, right?
I don't know. It just seems to me the McVay thing starts a lot of dominoes. If I'm Baker, I stay with McVay. If Sean leaves, then I'll go to Houston or wherever. I'll make my money.
Chase the bag, right.
If I'm Matt Stafford, I came here for McVay. I've got my ring. I'll just throw this out there. Am I crazy to suggest this? We're talking about all these player moves. The Rams need draft capital. What if the Rams, to get draft capital, reboot and move Jalen Ramsey or Stafford?
Or both.
I mean, no, seriously.
Yeah.
If McVay leaves, Stafford probably goes to Les Snead and says, guys, I got banged up this year. I'm not sticking around here in a rebuild. I got no interest.
And Aaron Donald talked a lot about retirement, got paid. I mean, maybe you just start over. Now, I will say this. People are going to start bagging on McVay. Oh, he got the Super Bowl. He got all his guys. Then he's going to leave. Hello. You know who did that in the NBA with a lot of success? This guy named LeBron James. Hey, come to Miami. He sees it falling apart. I'm out. The smart guys know when to get out, right?
Yeah.
I got no problem with McVay leaving the Rams. A lot of people upset with it.
I don't.
He's tired. He's exhausted. It ran its course. Let's get to the final story here. New York Football Jets. Haven't talked a lot about them, the end of the season with a 6-game losing streak. They were at 1.7-4, though. Looked playoff bound, but the playoff drought continues after the loss to Miami yesterday. Ugly game. I know you did not watch it. Robert Saleh apologized.
I watched some of it.
For the team's collapse.
I say sorry to everybody. Woody, Christopher, Ira, Jaime, E, all the players, all the coaches, all the fans. Because I know it's been a long, long ride, but of not being in the playoffs, and I know it was right in our fingertips, and we're not going. But at the same time, I know we've come a long way over 2 years, and I'm excited about what we've got ahead of us.
When you end the season, their final 33 drives, Colin, 0 touchdowns. They didn't score a touchdown in their final 3 games.
That's not...
I mean, look at these numbers. Final 3 games. Now, they did have 3 different starting quarterbacks, and they played Strevler against the Jags.
Okay, I was thinking, nothing against Skylar Thompson. Dreadful. The gap in this league, there's 3 levels of quarterback. There's the Mahomes class. There's about 7 guys. Then there's the more than competent guys. Kirk Cousins, Dak. And then there's, you're in big trouble. The quality of athletes is so good in this league that the gap between the greatest quarterbacks and the bad quarterbacks, it is so large now. Because even if you were great in Joe Montana's days, you could be ragdolled. There were limitations. The numbers the great quarterbacks put up now, the gap, I mean, it used to be you'd have a really great quarterback and then Jeff Hostetler.
That's right.
One was better, but it didn't feel like the Grand Canyon. Yeah. I mean, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, these guys are so much better. If they're the top 5, by the time you get to like 12, the gap, the sport is built now for great quarterback play and wide receiver play. I mean, there are teams this weekend that are hard to watch.
Yeah.
Miami Jets.
That was brutal. I'll say this. Garrett Wilson looked incredible. It's basically like Garrett Wilson's awesome catching passes from anybody except Zach Wilson. And Colin, for the Jets fans who are down in the dumps, we've talked a lot about maybe Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo. Listen, if Matt Stafford is available, we know Shanahan and his system loved Matt Stafford. Well, you got the Shanahan system in LaFleur with the Jets. Do the Jets say, hey, you want picks? Give us Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford to the Jets for a slew of draft picks, and the Rams are like, all right, McVay's gone, we lose our quarterback. And all of a sudden, the Jets have a quarterback and a top-flight defense in a division with Josh Allen, Bill Belichick, Tua. Can the Jets... They need a quarterback, Colin. They got to make a move on somebody. Carr, Garoppolo, Stafford?
Matt Stafford. No, you think it's crazy? Matt Stafford. If McVay leaves, Matt Stafford got crushed.
Coming off the East fresh. He didn't play much.
Look how much money Matt Stafford's make.
Yeah.
He's from the South. He's from Texas. His wife is from Atlanta. He has no loyalty to the West Coast.
Big arm. Cut through in that bad New York weather. In Detroit, played in the NFC
Let's start
North.
that as a rumor. Stafford to the Jets is something to think about. If McVay leaves, Matt's got no. He didn't want to be part of a rebuild. He lost all those years in Detroit.
There'll be a lot of teams that want Stafford. The Jets have the draft capital, and they've got not every position, but they're really well built except for quarterback
and left tackle.
Yes. Although Mekhi Becton talked to the media today, I know nobody cares, but he looked thin. He looked thin. He's not trying to eat his way out of the league, which is what many people speculated.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Do you own a business? Been a bumpy ride. Pandemic, stock market woes.
The biggest misstep down the stretch I've noticed is that on both sides of the ball, the line of scrimmage isn't solidified right now. And they got some players, at least on the defensive side. You got a couple players. I know you guys, Zadarius Smith, more of a linebacker, but Daniil Hunter's playing kind of out of position. But the interior really needs to step up and really needs to shore up on the inside for them to have any chance of going anywhere in the playoffs. We used to always say, your front seven on both sides of the ball got to be tough come November, December, January to be able to go anywhere. So I think it's concerning. I agree with you. I think, like they said, Kirk Cousins finally has some confidence. He has a coach that, offensive coach, obviously, quarterback can help him go in that direction. I think the biggest thing the Vikings done have been balanced. You can tell when they're winning this season, they're balanced. Kirk might throw 25, 30 times a game. I've been saying for years, if Kirk doesn't have to throw the ball 40 times a game, you guys will be good. And that's not a knock to him. It's just, in this league, you got to be balanced, and he's able to play action. He's a really good play action quarterback, in my opinion. And so when you're able to, not force him to throw the ball 40 times a game, I think you're pretty good. And you have to do that by running the ball, playing good defense, which comes back to our front sevens have to be good. So I'm concerned that's the stretch. I like the fact that they went in to Chicago and won.
Yeah.
I think that's telling, because that's not something we've done very well over the history of that franchise, is going into Soldier Field no matter what the records are. So that's encouraging. And I hope, the couple bad losses and embarrassing losses they had, hopefully that wakes them up and they go on a nice run and win the whole thing.
So you were in 7 playoff games. You had 4 or 5 sacks. It's really interesting. The season is 3 seasons. There's pre-Thanksgiving. Everybody looks good. The weather's warm. Everybody's track is fat. Everybody's flying. And it's post-Thanksgiving where physicality. And then there's the playoffs. And it's hard. It just looks and feels like different football. So take my audience to the difference between even November, December football and playoff football. How do these games this weekend feel different, Jared?
Oh, the energy level in the building is just different. When you're playing to win and go home, it's a different story. The fans really, honestly, I think the fans will make it different, because obviously nothing changes amongst, the properties of football, so to speak. The field's the same, the players are the same. The energy level is picked up. The sense of, a sense of urgency comes over you, knowing you have to play. And to be honest, playoff football is totally different from what you said, pre-Thanksgiving football, guys are still worried about stats, right? Guys are still trying to make the Pro Bowl. Guys are still trying to position themselves, and whatever that is. There's contract, incentives you're trying to reach, and then you get into December. Now you're trying to win championships. I look at November, December. That's when you're trying to win your division championships, and then you get into playoffs where it generally comes back